I'm going to do a little handheld with the video camera here, because I'm going to go back and forth with the video I have on my screen. This video is from, it's March, I think, of 2014. And you'll see some very high numbers coming out of the body from the frequencies by using a radio frequency meter. And I will explain it as it goes along here. Let me just start this. Hopefully you'll be able to see this good enough on the, on the screen here.
You see, it's March 8th, 2014. My RF meter that I have, this RF meter for about a year and a half, when they started zapping me, was always around 30 and in this setting. And in that same setting, I went to the churches about 2 years ago, and then they start cranking up to about 80, 90 all the time.
What I meant there, guys, was that I went to the local churches with the information I had, and talked to some of the pastors. And of course, if you do that, of course, they don't want that. So after having the meter, reading about 35 on the head for, a long time, a year, year and a half, whatever, all of a sudden it went up higher, and all of a sudden the pressure was greater all the time. At first, they just use the frequencies to basically keep your sleep way down. They can put you to sleep and wake you up with the frequencies. And so then all of a sudden they're like, okay, now we're going to crank it up really high, because you're talking to other people and telling them about the world government. And this is all about exposing the world system, the world government system. That's why they're doing this to me, because I've been exposing it. But so basically they turned it up after I talked to the churches. But what I'm doing here is just loading on videos that I've had for years and I haven't loaded on. Now keep in mind, guys, that this is every day. Now this is 2 years old, and now today the meter is usually around 200, or even higher, much as 250. And it's every single day for 6 years. The guy that had on Jesse Ventura's show, doing the same thing to him, it was 13 years for him, and they were still doing it. You can go online, find 5,000 people on one website that they're doing the frequencies on. There's chapters in almost every country now. 1,000 people in this one, 2,000 in that one, whatever. Guys, this is going to be the mark of the beast. And it's not officially the mark of the beast, but this technology will be the mark of the beast. Because the Bible tells us that you can't find God once you take that mark. And this is why. It's because they're able to control the people, mentally and physically with the chipping. So I'm going to run some more of this video, but I know this is shot kind of, rinky-dink, because I'm holding it by hand, but I just wanted to go back and forth with this video so I can show it to you here.
Several times a day I'd put up the meter up to my head, it'd be 90, 0.09. Well, here I'll show you on the meter. And I'll put it up to my head.
That's, how can you see that?
See right there, it's 110. No, rarely do I ever get 110.
You can see that,
I'm going to keep doing this, because it'll gradually come down.
It was 34 on my hand and 110 there on my face. And of course, that's measuring radio frequencies coming out of the body. And so, 110 is a high number.
It'll gradually come down, because we don't want it to be that high on camera.
And you can see that's 131, if you can see that. See if I can stop this in the right spot here. Okay, there's 150 right there. Or it's 0.15, I just call it 150, but that's a tremendous, that's a very high. You depending on what frequency they're sending at the time, you know, this could be reading 150, and you could be happy-go-lucky because they could be sending you a frequency to make you happy. But this is a frequency to bog you down, and so at 150, you're just kind of, you know, run down. Plus, they're keeping your sleep way down. Now remember, this has been going on for 6 years, and they don't stop. The people on the websites, it's many, many years. Now people say, well, they wouldn't do this for years. Guys, you got to understand what this is. Each person is hooked up to a computer. Your thoughts, through the chipping, the brain patterns are recorded onto the computer 24/7. As a result of that, the computer eventually is able to figure out what you're thinking all the time. And based off of those thoughts, they can send you frequencies to counteract that. So in other words, once the people take this as the mark of the beast, when you think about finding God, the computer will recognize that and send you a frequency that says that this is a bad thing. It'll tell your brain it's a bad thing, or I don't want to do this right now, you know, as far as accepting God. And people say that don't understand, they say it's no way it can be that way, that it can be to that level, but it really is, guys. It took me 6 years to figure this out. You know, they were doing this for 6 years. They've still been doing it, and they're still doing it. And just over time, watching the behavior of the people around you, plus what they're doing to you, because they have to use these frequencies on the people around you, because otherwise you would have people with real concern, but yet they can take that concern away and fool them with these frequencies. If you go on the one website called Freedom from Covert Harassment, I talked to the guy there, and I think there's 5,000 people registered there that they're doing this to. But the thing is, they're all separated from their families. Well, you might have one here or there separated from their family. You're not going to have 5,000. The only way you're going to have all those people separated is if they're able to manipulate the thoughts of the people around those people and use the frequencies to eventually separate them from the targeted person. And it does go that far. It really does. Now, I've looked up the patents on many of these technologies, and they're there. And a lot of times companies will figure this stuff out or whatever, and then they'll sell it to the government. Well, then it's classified, but before that, it gets patented. And so the technologies are there for all of this stuff, or the patents are there for all this stuff. And it's 100% working, guys. You know, I in the Bible, when it talks about nobody being saved after the mark of the beast, and I believe all the Christians will be gone at that point. And I used to ask, I would ask God, I'd say, God, why can't the Christians be here during the last 3.5 years because of the 7-year tribulation? Because then you're going to have people more open to accepting God, because they're in trouble, And I thought it didn't make sense that they wouldn't be here, to help these people find God. Even though the world's in turmoil and there's people dying, but as Christians, God's coming soon, right? So even if it is a tough road, to be living at that time, at least God's coming. So, but the point is that now that God has showed me this technology and how it works, they can't, the people can't be here, the Christians can't be here, because they would end up, if they were chipped, you know, since they're chipping people now, the mark of the beast could be like a more advanced chip, but yet many of those Christians could still be chipped now going into the tribulation. So what I'm saying is they just can't be here once this mass chipping happens, because it'll be total control over the people. And so the Christians can't be here to to go through that. So that's why I believe the Christians will be gone, and the people left behind, when the Bible said, you can't be saved after taking that mark. And that's why they'll be totally controlling the people's thoughts and their physical actions. So let me get back to the video.
That's incredible. I said that so that they wouldn't turn it down, because I'm getting incredible numbers. Now this will tell you to get these kind of numbers.
Now look at how it's fluctuating. It can't do that.
Absolutely incredible.
And it's only 30 on the hand.
See how low it is now on that same wrist? It was just at 70 at the peak. And so let me get the left side of my head here. I'll get this, well, here, let me switch here.
It's about 134.
133. Anybody that has the technology to read this meter, you can see the setting on it. That's incredible high numbers. That's absolutely incredible. And the fact that they're
now notice how I spin around in the room and the meter is not changing.
allowing these high numbers on the meter, I try to get these on the meter for
the meter's super low.
About 3.5 years. And I couldn't get the high numbers because they completely turn it off.
What I'm saying there is, once you're chipped, they see what you see and they hear what you hear. So I tried to get those high numbers, and as soon as I would put the video camera on with the meter up to my head, the meter would drop down to about 10 or 15. And they never let me get, so finally, I don't even remember, a year and a half ago or so, they let me start getting them on the meter. Now, why did they change that? Only thing I can think of is that maybe they're planning a meltdown here soon, in the next year or so, until they figure it doesn't really matter if I start getting these on, because even if I got the information out, like I'm doing now, that it probably just not going to have a big effect on the people. So, but we're still doing it anyway. So
every time I grab the video camera, but as you can see, there's absolutely nothing in here.
I'm just spinning around in the chair. But now watch
you can
this.
See right here.
Now watch how low that is. Look at that, 36. Now I didn't move, I just spun around. I haven't changed positions. I just spun around in the chair. But yet now it's really low because they turn it down because I'm showing how there's nothing in the room. And
look at what just happened there. That's just incredible, guys. It was just 100 and something all the time. I just changed instantly, just like that. This is incredible stuff.
So, guys, I mean, that's what it's like every single day for a targeted person. Now, I'm a little bit, excited there at the end to get those higher numbers, because at that point, since this is 2 years ago, so yeah, it had to be at least 2 years that I started getting these numbers, and getting them on video. But at that point, I wasn't hardly ever getting the really good high numbers. They would just turn it down. So I was excited to get that on there at that point. Now, since then, I have about 200 videos with radio frequencies coming out of the body. which you simply don't have. It doesn't happen, guys. It just doesn't happen. There's a Dr. John Hall. Let me see if I can find this video quick here. Well, I'm not going to be able to find it quick. There's a video on YouTube, and there's two guys. One's an ex firefighter, retired, and they're helping the targeted people. Well, they're working with Dr. John Hall. Just punch in Dr. John Hall, electronic harassment or targeted people, and you'll get his videos. But these two guys are saying that, the organization that they formed to help targeted people, Dr. John Hall, is on their board. And Dr. John Hall says, we simply don't have radio frequencies coming out of our body. Now, he's a medical doctor. And yet, I'm showing you with a frequency meter, radio frequencies coming out of the body, guys. This is the big technology. This is, when they talk about the New World Order, they're, the big dogs talk about the New World Order. They're talking about a time when everybody is chipped and controlled. That's their ultimate dream. And even though they're chipping thousands now, there's a lot of question on how this chipping is going on. And, some people say the flu shot, some people say the vaccines. I don't know. I know Ron Paul, actually I think he is a doctor. There's a video of him talking about, well, I'm not going to be able to, I haven't seen that video in 2 years, so I'm not even going to mention it now, and I won't be able to explain it good enough. But anyway, something to do with this, of chips and anyway, I won't go into it. But so the point is, guys, that this is worldwide now. They're chipping thousands and thousands of people, and they will eventually use this technology on the entire world. The entire world will be like, like I've been for the last 6 years, and all your children and your parents, your grandparents, they'll do everybody that takes the mark of the beast. And trust me, guys, it's not good. I mean, one frequency and you're practically on the ground. You're breathing heavy, you can barely move. Another frequency and you got instant diarrhea. Another frequency and they can make you itch here. A second later they make you itch here, and then maybe here. All the functioning of the brain they have mapped out. They can take your hearing away, send a frequency and your hearing is gone. They can send a frequency and you'll have a pain in your knee so bad you'll just be going, just be moaning in pain. Send another frequency and you have flu symptoms. Another frequency and your back will hurt. They mapped out all the functioning of the brain with frequencies. And I know to the guy hearing this for the first time, you'll see it's impossible. Remember, I picked up on this little by little over 6 years because they started doing this to me when I didn't know a single technology. And over time, you were able to figure this all out. And you started reading the patents on it. And you started seeing the other people complaining with identical stuff that you were talking about. Well, now in 2016, all these years later, this is wide open. I mean, I still think they're going to do something big to the world soon because they're being so out in the open with everything, and they're chipping so many people, and it's like almost like they don't care anymore. They're not trying to hide things anymore. So you'll see them, my guess is by 2018 our economy will be melted down. And now that they just, the UK just, was, they voted out of the European Union. They may even do something, big false flag before the election or something. I don't know. Who knows? But it's possible. I mean, I'm saying it's sooner than later, but I'd say for sure by 2018 you know, we'll have some real problems here in our country. Because I think they're moving fast. It looks like they're starting to really go. So, guys, I encourage you to look at this meter. Try to buy one like it. You're not going to believe this, but they quit making that meter just in the last few years, because I only had that meter maybe, I'm guessing, 4 years. I tried to get another one. They don't make it anymore. You know how big that is? That meter's probably been around for years and years and years, and all of a sudden they're discovering it works to detect the frequencies inside the body. I had purchased maybe 3 or 4 other meters and they didn't work. This one detects inside the body. So it's a big deal. Try to get one of those and you will know in the future when they're doing something, if you're having an issue, whether it's done with frequencies or not. They can put any person in the hospital instantly. They can affect any part of the body. Very, very important to get one of those meters. I'm going to make a separate video on just that meter because it's that important. But anyways, I think I'm going to sign off here. But I think I dated this, didn't I? It's 6/28/2016. And I'm going to load this one on. And like I said, I'm sorry for the shaking and rough, video, but I just wanted to film that and just hold this by hand. I didn't want to try to set it down and set it up so it was steady and then pick it back up, and it had just been a mess. So important part is getting the information out more than the quality of the video. So thanks for watching.